Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Shantia here. So in today's video, we are continuing on with the Heal, Feel, and Reveal series. Today we are doing lesson number, I'm honestly not sure, it's either 7 or 8 that we are doing right now. And this is going to be about food and our relationship to food. So if you have a struggle relationship with food, we want to find a way to create a struggle-free relationship with food. And I feel like food is just one of those areas, especially when it comes to women. We tend to be more of the emotional eaters. So that's kind of an area where we have to navigate and put a little bit more effort and a little bit more work into it. So today I wanted to share with you guys some mindset approaches. We're going to talk about the mindset approaches, and then I'm going to give you a long list of amazing tips that I've cultivated over the years. If you are new to this series, this is the Holistic Health, Mind, Body, Spirit, Heal, Feel, and Reveal series. This is about learning how to bring more clarity and balance into your inner world and your outer world. So our inner world is like our thoughts, our mindsets, how we feel in our body. And our outer world is how we use our body, how we are in our body, how we navigate the physical existence of our lives in a way that's healthier. So if you have not yet, go ahead and check out the other lessons that I have done so far. I would definitely recommend checking out lesson number 1 and lesson number 2. Lesson number 1 is about unlocking your creativity. Creativity is everything that we do in this world. Everything is a creation. And so if you have a hard time taking action into shifting change into your life, I feel like that's a really great video to start with. Then I would also recommend watching the limiting beliefs video, lesson number 3, I believe this was. That will help you to kind of understand and formulate a way to get past any blockages that you have about how to approach and move past and towards something. So if you have a goal in mind and you feel like you've been putting off forever, this overall is a really great series to do that. But I would recommend checking out lesson number 3, limiting beliefs, to figure out how to get started and get past that fear of starting and trying out new things. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about food. Now, food obviously is very important because we need food. It's essential to our survival. So if you feel like you have a struggle relationship with food, I've created this video to help people cultivate a struggle-free relationship to food. And I feel like I've simplified my relationship to food over the years, and that's helped me to navigate it with ease. Now, it doesn't matter what age you are. I know sometimes people get caught up, oh, well, you're only in your 20s. What do you know about like weight gain? Sure, I haven't been through all of those experiences. I know when you become a mother, it's a whole new stage for you. When you enter your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, each stage of a woman evolving is different. However, I've also noticed there are universal rules to food. And I noticed this because I became very aware of food and health from early on. I had 2 grandparents pass away from health complications early on in life. And then throughout, when you see people injured, having health issues, it makes you very sensitive to the health issues that people can go through. So what I've learned to do is I learned to kind of set some rules for myself. And I started doing that early on and like building on top of them and building on top of it. And so I feel like food is just one of those areas where I've always been fascinated with how do I create a much more healthier approach to food. And throughout this entire video, we're going to be talking about intuitive eating and an intuitive approach. My YouTube videos, my channel is focused around divine feminine energy and using your intuitive and creative energy. So this energy I feel like is especially feminine. This is what women I think are especially good at, is instead of like focusing on structures and numbers, focusing more on how you feel, getting more in touch with your physical form and connecting that to your desires of what you're wanting to manifest or create for yourself, your dream body, whatever you want. So if you feel like you're having issues getting past certain struggles when it comes to food and your relationship to your body, then I would recommend you watching this entire video to get all of those tips and tricks for how you can cultivate a healthier approach to that. Okay, so it doesn't matter what age you are. I started creating rules for myself early on. I started creating rules, I started creating boundaries, and sticking to certain habits because I knew I didn't want to have health complications later on. I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate to not wanting to give the medicine or the doctor's control over their life. I never wanted doctors to have control over my health. I wanted to have control. So the way that I did that was through a holistic approach, which means I pay attention to what I put into my body. Food is medicine. So if I'm going to use food, I'm going to try to use it in a way that it's essential to my health. It's helping to nourish me. It's helping to heal me. Another thing I'm also going to remind you guys to do as you're watching this video, please be easy and be very gentle with yourself about your judgments about food or about your body. And it may be easy for me to say this. Be a little bit more gentle with your language. Like, cut the sting out of the language with how you talk to yourself or how you talk about your body. Sometimes it blows me away with how people talk about their body. Like, I remember someone saying in college one time, "Oh, I hate my body." And I was just blown away by that statement, because up until that point, which I appreciated her vulnerability, but up until that point, I realized I never felt that way about my body. I never hated my body. I had moments where things were struggling, and I definitely had moments where I gained weight, for sure. But at that time, believe it or not, I actually practiced looking at myself repeatedly. Even as I was gaining lots of weight and I was in a depressive state, I still paid attention to embracing my body, because I didn't want to build up these mindsets about what was going on with my body. I still wanted to enjoy it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive into the ways I stay slim. And what I think is going to make this video especially helpful is I don't exercise. Never been on a diet in my life. Never done a dieting, and I don't exercise. Everyone in my family they love to be active and super athletic. They go to the gym. Me, that is just not the case. Not the case at all. I'm a very mental person. And so I feel like people who tend to be very mental, and sometimes very creative, I'm very good at sitting and concentrating and doing things. Because I'm good at doing that, I don't use my energy in that way. Like, some people, they put more of their energy into the physicality of their body. Now, there's nothing wrong with exercise. I think exercise is absolutely amazing, and it can cut down a lot of health complications for you, and it can make life a lot easier. And I would definitely recommend some kind of regimen, at least 30 minutes a day, where you do a small little routine for yourself. But I honestly have never really been able to keep up a fitness routine. However, my health has always been good. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start with the questions. What is your relationship to your body? I want you to think about the answer to that question. What is the relationship to your body? Because your relationship to your body directly informs your relationship to food, which brings me to my next question. What is your relationship to food? So think about that. Take out a sheet of paper and write down, what is your general relationship to food? Is it a love-hate thing? Is it on a spectrum? Is it emotional? Is there a lot of attachment? Is it distant? Is it indifferent? And then for our last question, what is your desired relationship towards your body and towards food? And this, my friends, Alchemist, which I forgot to welcome Alchemist. This, my Alchemist, is the key to intuitive eating and into intuitive health, and building your health intuitively, is understanding what your relationship already is to your body. One thing we do get caught in sometimes is the structures, the systems, the number, the scale, the weight, the calories. I've never counted a calorie in my life. I don't even know how to count calories. Honestly, I was always just kind of lazy about that stuff. It seems like too much work. I never counted calories. I would sometimes look at the scale, yes, but guess what? I don't look at a scale anymore. We'll talk more about that later. Get away from the numbers and focus more on how you feel in your body and what your relationship is to food. So by being able to dial into understanding your relationship to your body and to food, because your relationship to your body informs your relationship to food, you're directly giving yourself the information for how to improve your diet. So do you understand why food, there's a million different diets out there? There's a million different diets out there because all of our bodies are different. Our DNA is different. We all react differently to food. But most importantly, something that I think is easy for us to forget, how you feel, your relationship to your food is primal over what you're eating. So we might say, oh, salad is better and steak is bad. But sometimes, do you find yourself craving those things that aren't the best for you? There might be something in that food that your body needs. Intuitive eating. So it all starts with your relationship. Now, think about your desired relationship towards your body, towards food. What do you want? Do you want it to be fluid, easy, efficient? How do you want to improve your diet? Because if you want to improve it, you need to know what your goal is. So write that down. So a lot of times we have issues with our bodies and we have issues with food because there's a disconnect. So you have to create a connection from your body to the food. And you have to connect to both of those things, and you have to connect the two of them. So if you want to enhance and you want to improve your diet, improve your relationship to food, improve your relationship to your body, I just said that, then you have to cultivate a connection to it. And you might start realizing, oh, I'm not as gentle as I would like to be towards my body, or I'm not as kind as I would like to be towards food. I'm really harsh. I'm really judgmental. If you know you're being judgmental, now you know exactly what you need. Your relationship to your food. Now, I think everyone, for the most part, desires a peaceful, easygoing relationship to food. You can write down a list of adjectives for the specifics for what you want in your relationship to food. But I want to help to guide you to figure out how to create a healthier relationship to your body and to your food. So you need to know what that is. Based off of your desire, see what downloads you get. See what information or inspiration you get about what you should do to improve your diet. Because that's what I do. I don't follow any specific regimen. I always told myself I wasn't interested in that. I'm going to create my own experience to food. And because I've created my own experience, I'm not following any kind of regimen. I've always had a peaceful relationship to food. So at times, maybe I'm craving a Pop-Tart, right? Or at times, maybe I'm craving an intense green detox, and I enjoy all different phases. Let's go ahead and get into our mindset shifts. The reason why I asked those questions about what is your relationship to food and your relationship to body is because it all starts here, your mindset. It's how you see and view things. It starts here, and then it goes to the table and your reaction, your physical reaction to food. So if you have a really good relationship to food, then you're going to be able to enjoy your food a lot more. And I think that's the point. We want to enjoy our food. We want to enjoy it. We want to experience it in a way that feels really nourishing and healthy for us. Rule number 1 is intuitive eating. So we've already kind of dialed into this. Intuitive eating is about listening to what your body needs, maybe what it's craving, what it's feeling. Now, what I like to do is I actually like to look through recipe books or look through different recipes. I like the visual. So I like to look at the visual recipes of what things are going to look like. Cookbooks are great for this. And I like to see, what is my body feeling like it's craving or is interested in eating? Or maybe I'll go to the store and I'll make a list. And I wrote down on my list, I'm going to buy bananas, but maybe instead I feel inspired to buy raspberries. Right? So I like to listen to that, because sometimes the body knows what it's desiring. Also, intuitive eating is about listening to when your body's full, right? So if you created a connection to your body and you're like, okay, hey body, I want you to feel good. I want you to enjoy this food. As you're eating, you're starting to feel, okay, that's too much. And you respect it. See, when you learned how to cultivate that desired relationship to your body, you and your body are in dialogue with one another. You and the food are in dialogue with one another. You know exactly when to stop eating and when it doesn't feel good. You know when it does and when it doesn't feel good. And it's when we get to past that point of it doesn't feel good and now we're just eating mindlessly instead of mindfully, then that's when things become very unhealthy for us and can really chip away at our self-esteem when it comes to food. Intuitive eating, get in tune with listening to what your body feels like it needs and wants and desires. When it wants to stop eating something, when it's craving something, listen to all of that, because all of those are valid desires. Rule number 2. So I follow the flexitarianism diet, which means I like to take different types of diets and foods and recipes and add it into my meal. I don't follow a diet. But when I found this word, the flexitarianism, I was like, oh, that's exactly what I am. I embrace it all. I'll be like, I'm craving meat. I want meat. I want no meat this week. Maybe I just want all veggies. I don't follow any kind of specific diet. I allow myself to enjoy the flexibility of all of that. As humans who go through cycles, allow yourself the flexibility to enjoy all the different types of diets. Now, my sister is very different from me. She likes to go very extreme. She likes to dive into diets. However, I feel like there's always a slippery slope when you commit so hardcore towards what you're eating, because then it becomes like overwhelming at times. And I never wanted that. I'm like, there are times where I'm really excited. I'm having more fun in the kitchen. I'm learning new recipes and I'm trying things out. But then there are times where I just like don't really care. And I'm like eating routinely. And that's fine too. The whole point is give yourself a little bit more flexibility to enjoy the different types of meals. But I feel like it's honestly a weekly and a daily practice, as opposed to committing to this bigger goal of like, oh my God, this is what I want to achieve with my food diet. I just felt like it never made any sense. Our bodies aren't really hardwired for eating the same things all the time. I think variety is absolutely necessary. So next we're going to talk about lowering your expectations. Lower your expectations and go on the path of least resistance. So I think a lot of people set themselves up for failure when they set extremely high expectations. I set no expectations, honestly. I will set out like a desire into the universe. I'll write it down and be like, hey, I want to get more fit, or I want to get more healthy. But it has to be fun. If it's not fun to me, I lose interest. If it's not interesting or creative, I lose interest. I like to lower my expectations. In fact, I don't really have any expectations as far as food goes. I'll just set out a desire to the universe and I'll say, hey, this is what I want. So you can like journal, if you really want to get into diving into your relationship with food, you can journal and be like, okay, this is my goal for the week, is I just want to eat less of this. And I've done that before where I'm just like, I cut things out one by one, and I try to enhance and then insert. I like to insert new ideas, new recipes, new approaches to diet as well, and have fun with that. But I make it fun. It's like an adventure. It's like, when you go to, I'm an art teacher, so let's say you go to art class and you just can't wait to get to class and see what new art project you have. It's fun that way. So I like to think of my diet or my food choices or learnings as adventures and projects that I get to be fun and creative with. Lower your expectations and set your goals for something that feels obtainable. So if you do have a lofty goal and you feel like you love looking at that lofty goal, which there's no issue with doing that, set reachable, obtainable goals for what you're wanting to do in your diet. Some people, they're just like, oh, I'm gonna lose all the weight. And I'm just like, huh? I wouldn't even expect myself to just be like, I'm gonna lose all the weight. I'm like, if I can lose 5 pounds in a couple weeks, maybe we'll just start with that. But honestly, I'm not about numbers. I'm about intuitive eating and about how I feel in my body. And we'll talk more about that later. We need to be patient with results. I forgot to put the disclaimer in this video. I'll go ahead and maybe throw it at the front of it. But the disclaimer is I'm not a medical professional, so if you are seeking medical advice, make sure you seek the advice of your doctor. I'm sharing my experience and what I've learned through my experiences in this video. So I'm not a medical professional. If you ultimately decide to take on these tips and ideas, just enjoy applying it to you, but also make sure to consult a medical professional if you feel like you need to in regards to your health. So we need to be patient with results. They do not happen overnight. I honestly, again, I set my low, really low, so attainable. I'm like, if I can just eat 2 salads today, that would be success. Set really healthy expectations, obtainable expectations. Oh my gosh, why is that floating? Obtainable expectations for yourself. Mindset rule number 4, holistic health. Why I'm creating this video and why it's part of this series is because our relationship to our body and our relationship to our food, it affects us. It affects other areas of our life. So when you're eating good, you feel good. Or when you feel like you're eating good, keyword feel. When you feel like you're eating good, you feel good in life. When you feel like you're sticking to your diet, when you feel like you're putting in the work, you feel good. Thinking about your relationship to food, shifting it, and thinking about your relationship to your body and shifting in an area that is healthier is what's going to help to balance all other areas of your life. I know personally for me, when I started eating better, I did a sugar elimination and elimination diet. My hormones, my moods improved significantly. So it made a huge difference for me. But on top of that, when you cultivate like this relationship with food where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm putting in nourishing food into my body, this feels so good, it raises your vibration and your energy so much more. So I have lots of energy when I eat really, really good. Speaking of the relationship between the body and food, let's also go ahead and dive into body image. Now, body image. No one's body looks the same. We don't look the same as other people. And so we need to practice seeing what we already have going on. The way that I started doing this, when I was in my teen years, I watched a lot of Lifetime movies. And I remember I would watch a lot of shows with teenage girls who were going through a lot of body dysmorphic phases. I practice looking at my body naked. When you get in the shower, you get out of the shower, use that as an opportunity to really look at your body and see all the interesting angles and curves. I was a very self-conscious person, but at the same time, the idea of hating my body, of not liking my body, it didn't appeal to me at all. I remember I was having a conversation with a coworker. You know, she had 5 kids, but oh my gosh, she looked like 10 years younger than her age. And she would always talk about her body, sometimes in ways that let me know that she didn't have the best relationship with her body. She said something, either she didn't like seeing her body naked or she doesn't look at herself in the mirror or something like that. And I was just like, but why? Your body's gone through so much changes. If you put off looking at it, one, you're going to be in avoidance. So your relationship to food and your body is going to be avoidance, and you're going to lose that connection. Like, just if we learn how to just appreciate our bodies for what it is, the fact that we're able to get up and just breathe is a huge blessing. So I think our bodies deserve to be cherished in a way that is really nourishing and healthy for us. Like, look in the mirror and just be compassionate and kind and gentle with yourself and be like, this looks good. This is beautiful. This is healthy. This is robust. Like, you're up and you're standing and you're moving, you're mobile. Those are all huge blessings. Let's just start there. Practice looking at yourself naked. There really is no other way past it. Practice looking at yourself naked. My body has gone through shifts and changes. When I was going through a very depressing phase in my life and I was gaining weight, and I, at the time, of course, you know, like a lot of women who are going through their something crisis, like whatever, 20 something crisis, I cut my hair off and I did not look cute. I had acne, my hair was short. I was like 15 pounds to almost like 20 pounds heavier. I practiced looking at my body naked. I still did it. I don't want to develop any kind of frustrating emotions towards my body. I need to just appreciate it for what it is. I remember growing up, my dad would always call me thick. He would always call me thick, and I didn't like it. It made me very self-conscious as a child, because both my siblings were like stick thin. They were very skinny, but I felt like I was the thick, chubby kid. Turns out I'm just like a normal sized girl. And in fact, I've just learned how to maintain a really healthy diet. I would always kind of keep my standards to what I weighed in high school. I'd be like, okay, that was about good. You know, I was a healthy weight at the time. I was semi-active, you know, moving about. I always would keep my standards to that. But turns out I'm like, my high school clothes, which some of them I still have kept, are loose on me. It had nothing to do with numbers. It all had to do with like cultivating a healthier relationship to food. Another thing I would recommend you doing is don't look at the scale. Now you can. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right. I don't look at a scale, and I would not recommend it. I didn't even get rid of it. I don't look at my scale. It's hiding under towels or something. I do not look at my scale. I do not use it because I was becoming obsessive every time the number would change. And the thing is, our bodies change depending on what we eat. So if we drink water sometimes, or you eat bread or certain processed carbs, your body will absorb more water and it'll retain it. Or you eat a certain amount of salt, you'll retain water. So to me, it's just not worth worrying about all of these like little increments of changes and obsessing. Oh my gosh, I gained 3 pounds. Oh my gosh, I lost. No, I don't look at it. What I do is I put my clothes on and I see how I fit my clothes. If it's loose, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I lost some weight. Ha, surprise. If it's tight, oh, okay, maybe I need to like pull away from those carbs. Or maybe I just start eating some more salads. Or whenever I'm gaining weight, to me, I just tell myself, okay, we're going to eat more veggies. this week. That's it. It's that simple. I just feel how my clothes feel in my body, and I'm like, okay, it's a little tighter today. And that lets me know, okay, we're going to rein it back a little bit on some of these foods. Rule number 6, acceptance. So if you need a free day, a cheat day, you're having cravings, or you want to indulge, accept that. I have moments where I'm like, I just want to indulge today. I want to celebrate and get what I want and enjoy it. And I do. And when I give in to my cravings, I find that now I'm not holding myself against enjoying something. Now, I know it's great to be disciplined and stick to certain healthy habits, but I break free of that because sometimes my body's craving something that the other food is giving me or can give me. So I allow myself to have those and experience that. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And because I enjoy it, the next day I'm right back to my routine and to my discipline because I know I intentionally allowed myself to give in that moment just so I can not have any kind of hold over or imprison myself to an ideology or just sticking to one way of enjoying or experiencing something. All right, mindset rule number 6, set up rules and boundaries. This is so important. You need to set up rules for yourself and boundaries for yourself in terms of what you need to do to stick to a healthier regimen when it comes to your diet. Just like you honor a cheat day or a free day, honor those days where you stick to your routines. So set up boundaries. And I'm going to talk to you guys about what we are about to talk and list down. I'm going to list you all of my huge list of tips as to how I've been able to stay slim almost effortlessly over the past, I don't know, it's been a long time. I've basically weighed the same for the past 10 years, but it's fluctuated a little bit here and there. So let's go ahead and talk about what those tips and boundaries are for me. Number 1, don't buy it. Whether you're grocery shopping or having this desire to do takeout, those are rules that I stick to. I don't buy the processed foods. I just don't. The cookies, the chips, I don't do takeout. First of all, let's talk about takeout. It's full of sugar and salt to make the food taste good. It's full of all that stuff for a reason. They want you to be addicted to it. They want you to come back and eat it again and again and again. I find that when I've stuck to taking out all of that excess sugar and food, and I'm cooking my own food all the time, I'll find that when I eat those fast foods, you can taste the salt, you can taste the sugar in it, and you can realize and see this isn't as good as I thought it was. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting it every once in a while. My rule is if someone else buys it for me, I'll eat it. It's as simple as that. And usually someone will offer to buy me at least like once or twice a month. Sometimes when I go over to my parents' house, they'll buy that stuff and I'll just eat it, guilt-free. I enjoy it, but I do not buy it. I don't bring it into my house. And I don't bring it to my house because it just sets the boundaries. Honestly, what if you're hungry and you're craving something and you're just like, I'm just hungry right now. What are you going to reach for? Right? The habit is going to be to reach for the thing that's the most convenient or the most comforting to eat. I just created rules for myself. I don't buy it. Now, last year I was like craving Pop-Tarts and I was going crazy. So I bought a bunch of different Pop-Tarts and I had them up there. And then I just stopped eating them in December and they've just been sitting up there in my cabinet. I'm about to give them away before I don't want them to expire. Honor that. Honor that. I just set rules and boundaries. I don't touch it. And what helps me to understand that is the intuitive eating approach. Oh my gosh, what is this going to do? If I eat this food, how's it going to make me feel? Is it going to make me feel good? Is it going to make me feel bad? I already know. I'm lactose intolerant. I can't eat a lot of that. I'm very sensitive to sugar and I'm sensitive to processed wheat. So there are just certain things that I know if I eat it, it's not going to make me feel good because I've already had that practice of getting in tune with my body. So simply do not bring it into your house. That makes it a whole lot easier. Tip number 2, cook your food. Cook the food. Now, I know sometimes it might be hard to stick to routines in how you cook your food, but try as often as you can to cook your own food. That right there just eliminated 50% of the issues. Again, what does takeout have? An excessive amount of sugar and salt in it. If you cook your own food, you control the salt, you control the sugar. If you make your own almond butter, you control what goes into your almond butter. Teach yourself how to make those things or make pantry items that can sit in your pantry so that you can keep them forever. I've had practice trying out a lot of different things. Honestly, most things I just buy from the store these days, I would just rather buy it prepared. I'd rather someone else put in the effort into making it. But you can save yourself $5 if you want to make it yourself. It's not like it's worth paying the extra $5 for the labor, because I gotta put it in the blender and like put all the ingredients in there and take the time and get the temperature right. And then clean all the dishes. And I'm like, I would pay someone $5 to handle that for me. Tip number 2, eat a salad a day. So veggies, by now, I think most of us know veggies are the ish. They are the ish. They contain the ish. They have the antioxidants and the vitamins that we need to feel nourished in our bodies. And in fact, the more colorful and vegetative your plate is, the more likely it is to have all of those essential vitamins that you need in your body. Take the time to create a salad, eat one salad a day. I actually like to do this. I like to do a salad in the morning and salad for lunch, or I like to just combine it into one meal and do like a brunch. Salads are absolutely incredible and just so nourishing. They give me so much energy. It's a great way to just consume very light calories that give you energy. What you could do is you can make it a nice hearty salad. Put some like chunks of avocado in there, some beans in there. You can also throw some seeds in your salad as well to make it much more filling for you. And then you can use a really fatty dressing. I use olive oil. That's what I've stuck to over the years, is I just use olive oil for my dressings. I don't buy salad dressing or use salad dressing. I actually have salad dressing in there and I have not touched it since I bought it like 7 months ago. And I bought it because I didn't have my olive oils. That was all they had. I have gotten used to just using olive oil. I flavor my salads with fruits and different kinds of vegetables and the way that they're flavored. I also like to do a vegan cheese sometimes on there. They'll give it a little bit of salt to it and it'll just give it a little bit more flavor. So you can get very creative with your dressings and whatever you're doing, but just try to make it a nice hearty filling salad. Sometimes I like to do an egg in there as well. I'm not a vegan by any means, but I'm a flexitarian and I like to enjoy eggs and enjoy meat as well. If you can do at least one salad a day, that's some kind of effort. Salad is lots of fiber. It's just a great reset for your body, and it's just great overall to help you digest your food. So if you consume like a salad early on in your day, later on when you start piling on more food into your body, you've already got such a really great head start that food is going to be well and easily digested. I developed the habit of eating a salad every day, maybe about 3 years ago. I started doing a salad a day and I just stuck to that ever since. There are some times where I don't do it, but I always feel odd not doing my salad, but I just developed the habit of, okay, I'm gonna eat a salad for lunch every day. I honestly can't do heavy carbs or processed foods during lunchtime. I get really bad stomach ache. I have to stick to my salad a day so I have energy and it puts me in a good mood for the rest of the day. It also helps to get rid of brain fog, gives me lots of energy. You just can't go wrong with the salad. Moving on to the next one, I would encourage you to try out an elimination diet. Now, I did not do one by myself. I signed up for a program. It was like about $200, and you actually could do it with family if you wanted to, more than one person. But it was a really cool program that I did, I think, for about 8 weeks, where we went online and we talked about our experience with food. You had to buy the book, but they gave you a system and a program for how to do that. The book gives you all these recipes, no sugar. So it's essentially an elimination diet where they take out sugar, and then they also help you to understand like what foods are good for you. So you're supposed to like journal and talk about how foods make you feel. Sign up for a program. So a lot of people feel overwhelmed because they're like, I can't do it on my own. Sign up for a program. $200 is worth the investment for the rest of your life of having health for the rest of your life. Your health is worth the investment. If you can do a food sensitivity test or try elimination diet or elimination diet programs where you're just given the tools to learn how to eat better, then that will be a great way for you to do that. They help to educate us about food essentials like fats, carbs, and protein, and why we need to have all of these things in our diet. And they recommended a whole list and different recipes for how we can consume these foods on a regular. And what was great about it is because we had to talk about it every week, be accountable to one another, it helped us to stick to our routine. If I didn't have anyone who was keeping me accountable, it would have been a lot easier for me to just be like, whatever. But I loved having to challenge myself. And I actually stuck to that elimination diet for about 6 months. After that, I started kind of implementing other things. And then I flex between like different eating more, maybe less. But I kind of have a regular thing now where I eat a little processed foods, but for the most part, throughout the entire week, I eat as many vegetables as possible. I want to add this onto the elimination diet as well. Get rid of sugar. So the elimination diet that I tried, no sugar. We weren't allowed to have anything that was gluten-free. Anything that had sugar in it, if it had added sugar, get rid of it. Sugar, it creates so much inflammation in your body, and excess inflammation. You don't need it. There's already natural sugar in a lot of different foods. If you're really craving something sweet, I'd recommend just doing fruit. Not only is it healthy for you, it's actually more satisfying. So try to drink or consume natural sugar in your diet. You don't need sugar in your pantries at all, especially if there's replacements that are much better for your body to consume. But to me, glucose is still glucose. So leave that sugar to the food that it's already in. You don't need any added sugar at all. Okay, so moving on to tip number 4, water every day. So at this point, I feel like a lot of people have done this, a lot of people have kind of eliminated those processed drinks. When you understand how much sugar is in those drinks, like sodas and stuff and juices, it's ridiculous. So according to research, if you go on Google, women are supposed to have no more than 25 grams of added sugar a day. How much added sugar do you think is in a 16-ounce bottle of juice or a Mountain Dew? It's about 25 grams a day. So all of your excess sugar, this is the added sugar. This isn't including the essential sugars that's already in food. All of that added sugar is just gone to waste. And to me, it just never made sense to drink sugar water because it goes in and out. So I got rid of it. If I'm going to enjoy sugar, I'm going to enjoy sugar. So I get to enjoy my sugar in other desserts. I'm not going to give away my sugar count to juice that goes in and out of your body and has like no nutrients. My sugar additives that I prefer if I want a sweetener is maple syrup and honey. I've tried ethanol and monk fruit. Not a big fan. I prefer honey or maple syrup to those other options. So water is great. Water is the great reset. It helps to kind of neutralize your pH and your levels, and it helps everything to flow through your body and nourish. And we need water. We're made up of a lot of water. I don't know if we're made up of mostly water, but we're made up of a lot of water. So if we didn't have water in our bodies, we wouldn't be able to live. So make sure you drink your water and have water every day. Compared to all the other drinks they become diuretics. Is that the word? They become diuretics once you drink them because they're sugar water or they're just flavored water. But because it doesn't have any, it's not neutral like water is, it'll just go in and out of your body. So make sure you're drinking water or lemon water every day. And here's mine today. Okay, so next tip is, so I said that was tip number 3, but that was actually tip number 4. So that was actually tip number 5. I gotta change these numbers. Tip number 6, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. I'm sure many of you have heard this. Now, I don't create lofty, high standards when it comes to intermittent fasting. The way that I intermittent fast is after I eat dinner, I don't eat until either lunch the next day or brunch, or breakfast. And the reason why they do call it a breakfast is because it breaks your fast. So even just not eating after dinner up until you wake up in the morning, you get dressed and everything is considered some sort of fasting. So fasting is great because fasting is about resetting your body. So sometimes we get so caught up in eating 3-course meals and all this stuff. We don't necessarily need to do all of that. We need to eat for fuel. And actually, when we allow our bodies to go through intermittent fasting, it's essentially a reset for our body. So it kind of allows all of those things that are already in our body to, if you're just drinking water, honestly, everything will digest and it'll start to shift, it'll start to move. But if you're piling food in there, it'll start to get really crowded. And it'll actually start to make you more constipated, and it'll make it harder for you. And it might be harder for you to go to the bathroom. So you might as well just allow your body to digest those foods, break them down, send all the nutrients where they need to go, be absorbed where they need to be absorbed, and allow your body to do its thing. So I love to do a nice big cup of water first thing in the morning. Guess what happens? I end up going to the bathroom. So that's what I would recommend you doing, is just wait or wait till you're hungry first thing the next day to eat. So put it off if you can. I used to always do breakfast all the time, but after a while I started to understand you really need to eat when you're hungry, because if you eat when you're not hungry and you kind of force the food in, it'll burn you out really fast. So you'll spike your blood pressure and then you'll get really lethargic really fast. So don't feel like you need to eat breakfast or food at certain times throughout the day. Try to listen to your body for when you're feeling hungry. But if it helps for you to stick to your routine when it comes to food, then go ahead and create that. If you do stick to a routine, like if you say, okay, we skip breakfast and we eat at lunch every day, then your body might have like a natural flow. Moving on to tip number 7, the replacement method. So replace your bad habits with good habits. So one of my habits that I replaced was when it came to snacking, I like to do 3 things for snacking, which is berries, popcorn, or nuts. So I replace snacks. I don't do chips. I don't do cookies. Doesn't mean I don't eat those things. If someone has them around, I'll try one, but I will not depend on that for my source. Every time I leave the house, I always try to bring a little bit of fruit or some nuts with me in case I get hungry. But if you wanted something prepared, that's what I would recommend. I would not recommend those bars. Like snack bars are absolutely most of those are just not good. They're full of sugar most of the time. Like they have those 25 grams of sugar in it that your body does not need. Your body does not need that much sugar. So most of the bars, those health bars that they promote in the food stores, are full of unnecessary things. You could get the same kind of satisfaction and filledness from just eating plain nuts and some whole fruit. So eating whole foods as opposed to snacking on bars with excess sugar will do you a whole lot of good. Replace your bad habits with good habits. So if you're going to decide to take out soda, replace it with water. If you're going to decide to take out eating ice cream for dessert every evening, why don't you replace it with a chia pudding? So just replace it and transition. Don't pressure yourself to be oh my gosh, I need to eat the perfect diet. Just try and experiment with different things. Try to find out what tastes good. If you're trying to detox sugar, you can transition slowly as opposed to just cutting sugar out entirely. Because it's once you get that taste of sugar, it might be really hard for you to be oh my God, I can let myself have some sugar, processed sugar every week. I'm not that hard bent on myself about no sugar. I have a little bit. It's just I don't have it at my house. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Eat for fuel. So eat for fuel. What I was taught during my Elimination Diet class and program was that you need to make sure you're consuming fats, proteins, and carbs. So if you start to think of your food in terms of fats, proteins, and carbs, and stop thinking about it in terms of broccoli, rice, and beans, or broccoli, rice, and chicken, then you actually might find yourself creating much more sufficient plates for your body. So whenever I'm consuming my food, I like to think about, am I consuming enough fat today? Because fat is very filling. If you have, a nice amount of fat and protein, that'll be very filling, and you won't be consuming an excess amount of carbs that might put weight on your body. Think about your food in terms of fats, carbs, and protein, and think about it in terms of fuel. Now, throughout the week, Monday through Friday, I'm pretty disciplined, and I think of my food in terms of fuel. So when I'm hungry, I'll eat, and I'll be okay, I'm good. And then I won't eat again until I'm hungry again. Now, I like to really create delicious dinners. That's where I like to enjoy my food, is delicious dinners that are flavorful and yummy and fresh out the oven. That's where I like to put my energy into. But breakfast and lunch, I keep it really simple, really easy. And usually I do a salad for both of them. So I'll do maybe a little bit of spinach with a over easy egg and some avocado, maybe a little beans, depending if I'm more hungry. And then for salad, I'll actually do kind of the same combination, but then I'll make my salad a little bit more hearty by adding some olive oil or some beans in there, or additional vegetables, sometimes even fruit. Tip number 9, cut out the wheat carbs. So if you want to lose weight, if that's your goals, you want to lose weight, you want to feel more fit, and fit more into your clothes, or you want to get smaller clothes, then I would suggest you cutting out wheat. So the reason why is, a lot of people know this. If you do some research on wheat, it's highly processed food, and it's basically a sugar. So it has the ability to raise your blood pressure and then make you crash. It makes you really lethargic. So I cut out bread. I used to do gluten-free bread because I thought I had issues with gluten. Turns out I just have issues with my blood sugar being spiked, and wheat is just one of those things. It's highly processed in the United States. It's not the most nutritious thing. It's more ideal for you to cook your own versions of bread and your own type of bread, as opposed to eating the processed ones. Yeah, really think about whether that is going to be worth it for you or not. So I've heard this before, that wheat is like, or pasta is like glue in the intestines. It seems to me wheat is very highly processed. It spikes your blood pressure. It can be glue in the intestines if you eat it in the form of pasta. So it really doesn't have that many essential nutrients to it. It seems to create more issues. So that's just one of those things that I had to take out of the pantry, and I just could not buy too much of that anymore. And on top of that, it's highly processed and it slows down your metabolism. So I just feel like there are other ways for you to consume foods that are much more filling to you than wheat. Another thing I would recommend you doing, try out different recipes. Now, I think we often complicate our experience with food, and we can make it so much easier for us to enjoy different recipes. The way that I would first recommend you to do this is Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is just available to everyone. The internet is amazing, and it has a lot of incredible recipes. So create a board and pin all the different recipes that you'd like to try, and add that and implement that into your diet. Another thing I would also recommend is going to the public library and trying out recipe books. So instead of buying the full-on book and the big purchase, which can be a commitment because it is a big book, right? I would recommend you doing a trial and going to the public library to buy a book or borrow a book, as opposed to buying a book. This book is called The Vegan Reset. This is my book recommendation for everybody. And this is by the author Kim Julie Hansen, and she creates a 28-day plan to kickstart your healthy lifestyle. So this is an incredible book. She doesn't just teach you how to cook the food, she shows you how to go grocery shopping. She makes a grocery list for you. She shows you a prep schedule, and then you cook the food. So she makes it so easy, and she puts everything in a beautiful, expansive 28-day plan for you to follow. So she already has it figured out for you. There is someone out there who has already figured out the diet for you. You don't have to do all of that research. So someone else has already figured it out. Another thing I would recommend you to do is try meal prep kits. So I try Blue Apron is one of the meal prep kits I liked. They actually did a really good job with like really delicious recipes, but they essentially do the shopping for you and they portion everything for you. You just have to cook it and prepare it and have essential things like cooking items and olive oil, salt and pepper ready for you to create and eat these delicious foods. What I've done is I did that. I trialed it for a while. I couldn't keep up with it because they had way too much pasta for the vegetarian dishes. So what I did is I took seasonings, recipes, sauces, the teachings of how they cook. They send you a card with each recipe, a visual card, and I kept all of those for future recipes. And I like to mix different types of recipes and dishes with one another. So another thing I would recommend is this YouTuber who I found. So I think it's like called Flav City by Bobby. It's not Bobby Flay. But he has an app called Bobby Approved. So essentially on his YouTube channel, he shows you how to shop for food. And this is why I'm like, make use of your resources because someone already else figured it out. He shows you how to shop for food. He shows you how to read ingredients lists. He makes product recommendations. So if you're looking for the ideal pasta, for the ideal ice cream, you know, all these things that we crave and we're like, is there a good version out there? He already has done the shopping for you. He's already figured it out. So you can go through the aisles and shop. He has a barcode scanner on his app where you can go ahead, hit the scanner, and just go up and scan different foods in your stores and see whether it's approved by him or not. So this is just a really great way. Just make use of the resources you have. I think, again, we can complicate the experience so much more, but I'm like, someone else has already figured it out. Someone has already figured out the perfect approach to keto and the perfect approach to vegan, or the ideal approach to it. And what you're going to do is you're going to intuitively dial into your body, dial into your connection with food and see what works for you. And you're going to take some things that do work, and then you're going to set aside things that you don't really need. Because I don't need everything. Like, there are people who are giving tips and recipe recommendations all the time, but I don't need every recommendation. I just need the ones that suit me. Tip number 13, make it easy and make it fun. So make eating food fun, make it easy, make it accessible for you. Again, once you start getting into this guilt and all these limitations about your relationship with food, and your body, that's when things start to become really challenging and difficult. So try to make it as easy as you can for yourself. Tip number 13, try to stay active on your feet. So I talked about, you guys already know, exercise is not my thing. It is not my thing. Working out is not my thing. But what I do is I try to find ways to stay active around my house. So I try to get up, I clean. I'll have like routines where I'll just like clean. I'll be up on my feet for 2 to 3 hours. I don't know, just depending. If I have a lot of cleaning to do, I'll straighten things out on purpose. I'll just find things to do around my home where I'm active on my feet, or if I'm at my job, I'll try to find a way to stay on my feet as well. So this is a really easy and effortless way for you to just kind of keep your body active. Now, do we need to create this intense exercise workout routine to stay in shape? I honestly don't think you need to. I think just being able to have some kind of regular routine of making sure you have some kind of cardio, you're walking, you're moving your body, you're using your body, it's what's going to keep it really nice and active. But like a small, like a 30-out, like relaxation stretch or sort of like a yoga routine where you engage with your body and you connect with your body, I think is going to really help to enhance your relationship to it. And then for my last tip, number 14, I wanted to talk about how do I make eating food really fun for me. So every week what I like to do is I like to go through recipe books or menus, and I like to go through recipe books and different types of recipe recommendations and through my recipe cards to find the recipes that I want. And I'll find whatever I'm craving, whatever I'm interested in making. And sometimes I'll try to find like a connection where I find the same ingredients in different dishes, and I'll create a menu for myself. So every week I create about 3 to 4 dishes. So sometimes I can I can make enough to eat 2 or 3 days. I'll just find 3 or 4 dishes I can cook throughout the week, and I'll create a menu. And then, after I look through my recipes and I create a menu, then I'll just find all the different foods I need to do, go shopping for, and then I'll just go shopping for it, and then I'll have everything ready. So it just makes it really easy. When I do my shopping trips, I always just go once a week and keep it really simple. Sometimes I have to split it between like a Central Market or a Safeway. You might have to split your trips between, different places depending on what's available. And that is how I just keep my approach to food really simple. If you guys have any questions about ways in which you can help to improve yourself, any questions for me, go ahead and mention them down below. I already asked the questions. I usually pin the questions down, but I'm going to just leave them in the description box if you're interested in what are the questions for this video. Every video I post questions in the description box, or they will be pinned down below for you to answer and think about. That is my entire routine when it comes to food. And I hope you guys really enjoyed that. That is how I keep it really simple. I've just learned to accumulate and add in these different rules. Now, again, don't put on these unrealistic expectations for, I'm just going to change everything overnight. That doesn't work. You don't just lose it overnight. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time for you to implement those changes. Be patient with yourself and allow yourself to enjoy the journey of getting there. I hope my alchemists have a wonderful day or evening. Thank you so much for watching this video of Heal, Feel, and Reveal in the series. I will be back next week with another video. Thank you.